On Wednesday, April 13th, Belize's Foreign Minister Wilfred Sedi Elrington, in the company of former Foreign Minister Assad Shuman, addressed the media in a press briefing at the NEMO's conference room in Belmopan, where a list of protocols presented to Guatemalan counterparts were shared. In that brief, Elrington says that they had given the Guatemalans 1 week to respond to Belize's proposed protocols. That 1 week was up on Friday, April 15th, and up to that time there was no official response forthcoming. Love News has learned, however, that the response may have come in over the weekend and all proposed protocols were rejected by the Guatemalans. For good measure, we bring back Minister Elrington with what those proposed protocols are as they relate to the Sarstoon.
The proposal which we came up with had 11 paragraphs. The first paragraph says this: the parties agree as follows, and these are the proposals. None of this has been formally agreed to by the Guatemalan side. This was the proposals that we put to them last week Friday, but it has not been agreed to by them yet formally, and we are hoping that they will signal their position on them as soon as possible. The first one was this: the channels of the Sarstoon River shall continue to be freely navigable by vessels and boats of each of the two countries without any interference or trailing by the other. The second: whenever any vessel of any one of the parties approaches the base of the other party or any other vessel, it shall reduce its speed as a token of respect and friendship and to avoid injury or damage to persons or property. 3. The law enforcement and armed forces of both parties shall refrain from any threatening, abusive, or unfriendly actions, words, or behavior of any kind with respect to each other in and around the said river. 4. The law enforcement and armed forces of both parties shall respect the right of the citizens of each other to make lawful and environmentally sustainable use of the river for fishing and recreation. 5. The parties shall cooperate to prevent or limit hazards and reduce and eliminate adverse consequences arising from floods, droughts, and incidents involving substances hazardous to water. 6. The parties shall cooperate on the basis of sovereign equality, mutual benefit, and good faith in order to promote and achieve the goals of this agreement. 7. The parties shall cooperate in preventing and countering any illegal activities including drug trafficking, human trafficking, arms smuggling, contraband, and other illegal activities of a transnational nature. And to this end, the parties may develop plans and conduct joint law enforcement and military patrols or operations, including search and rescue, which may include the participation of third countries. 8. The parties shall cooperate to avoid incidents on the Sarstoon River conducive to tensions between them. In the event of such an incident, the parties shall immediately communicate with one another to contain it, resolve it, and prevent its recurrence. 9. As a matter of courtesy and to promote good working relations, commanders assigned to the Sarstoon River may visit each other by mutual arrangement to discuss matters of mutual interest. 10. The parties shall on a regular basis exchange information. This includes an undertaking for any one party to inform the other party beforehand of any non-routine activity in or near the Sarstoon River. By mutual arrangement, the parties shall install practical means of radio and other communication to facilitate these exchanges. 11. If a dispute arises between the parties as to the interpretation or implementation of this protocol, they shall seek as soon as reasonably practicable to resolve it by negotiation, and should they fail to satisfactorily resolve any such dispute, either of the parties may request the Secretary General of the OAS to use his good offices to propose a solution to the dispute, and the other party hereby agrees to accept such offices and to comply in good faith with the recommendations of the Secretary General.
As we mentioned earlier, these 11 proposals have been rejected by the Guatemalans, with no alternatives proposed other than keeping the status quo in place. And that is where the problem arises, since the status quo, by Guatemala's definition, requires that Belize seeks permission for its citizens to traverse the Sarstoon. Belize's status quo derives from Article 1 of the 1859 Treaty, which states, quote, "It is agreed between Her Britannic Majesty and the Republic of Guatemala that the boundary between the Republic and the British settlement and possessions in the Bay of Honduras, as they existed previous to and on the 1st of January 1850, and have continued to exist up to the present time, was and is as follows. Beginning at the mouth of the river Sarstoon in the Bay of Honduras, and proceeding up the mid-channel thereof to Gracias a Dios Falls, then turning to the right and continuing by a line drawn direct from Gracias a Dios Falls to Garbets Falls on the river, Belize, and from Garbets Falls due north until it strikes the Mexican frontier. It is agreed and declared between the high contracting parties that all the territory to the north and east of that line of boundary above described belongs to Her Britannic Majesty, and that the territory to the south and west of the same belongs to the Republic of Guatemala." End of quote. Earlier this year, in response to a statement issued by CARICOM, Guatemala's Foreign Affairs Ministry responded by saying that their country's Congress had denounced the 1859 treaty in 1946, and therefore it no longer applies, thus their claim over the entire Sarstoon. Despite all the efforts being placed by Belize in settling this territorial differendum and the resistance encountered by the Guatemalans, Minister Elrington remained hopeful, at least up until Friday last, as he announced at the BNTU's forum in Benque that the Guatemalan officials are showing a willingness to work together. Former Foreign Minister Sarstoon, however, wasn't so hopeful and spoke of a more aggressive approach towards the Guatemalans.
Nations exist for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And you can't put this problem on our young children and those who are yet to be born. Let us resolve it. Let us establish a relationship we have with Mexico as well as with Guatemala. They seem to be minded to do that now, at least on the official level, and I think we should not miss this opportunity.
We put forward proposals, we, the east side. It started out with Alexis Rosado and myself writing it, right, Minister? And then others came in, CU and others added to it. But I agree with what we put. And we asked the Guatemalans to respond within a certain time. We said within a week. Well, guess what? Today makes 1 week and they're not responding. Now the Minister and I have different views. The Minister feels, and if I'm speaking for you, correct me, my brother. The Minister feels that on the whole, over the years, he's dealt with them. The Guatemalans have delivered. When they say something, they do it, etc. I don't have that same feeling. I do not trust Guatemala. I don't believe what the officials say. But please, I want to make it clear, crystal clear again. When I use the word loosely, I don't mean Guatemalan people. I mean that official down, the military, the elite, the ruling class, who rule the country. I don't trust them. And therefore, what I would want to say, and let the Minister hear me, I'm not telling this here, that if, all right, a week don't pass, if one next week pass, and then if one next week pass, and we don't get no reply, or if they refuse to be proposal, I think we should go on the attack. Tell it to the time, now they try like friend, and make we agree to this. But if they don't agree to it, or if they take too long to come back to us, we should go on the attack. That is my position.
Love News understands that Belize will be responding to Guatemala's rejection shortly. It is also expected that Belize's government officials will be meeting with the Secretary General of the Organization of American States, Luis Almagro, who is currently in Belize on an official visit.